There's something about a much-needed Celtic win that just shifts the entire atmosphere around the club, and that's exactly what happened after the victory over Sturmgrass. It wasn't just about the 3 points, although those were crucial. It was about seeing a Celtic side finally show some intent, some dominance, and some bite, things that have felt in short supply lately. But even in a game that should have been all celebration, injuries loomed like a dark cloud, reminding everyone just how fragile this campaign remains. The performance was better, much better. From the start, Celtic controlled possession, dictated the tempo, and created chance after chance. It finally felt like we weren't just passing for the sake of passing. There was movement, urgency, and structure. And for once, the scoreboard didn't betray the effort. The goals might have come from set pieces, but they were earned through consistent pressure and a clear attacking mindset. But it's impossible to ignore what we lost along the way. Losing key players early on is never ideal. Losing multiple in one night is a nightmare. Iheanacho was barely on the pitch before he pulled up and had to come off. Then Alistair Johnston rushed back perhaps too soon, limped off before halftime. It raises a serious question. Was the risk worth it? Did Brendan Rodgers gamble on fitness in desperation to change the tide? If so, it may cost us again, and not just in midweek games. With Hearts coming up, a cup semi on the horizon, and a packed European calendar, these decisions can have long-term consequences. Looking back at the lineup, Johnston was a surprise inclusion. Out for 2 months, chucked straight into European football. That's not just ambitious, it's reckless. With Kobe Donovan sitting on the bench, a player who's proven capable and confident in previous appearances, it's baffling to risk a key starter like that. And now, the price is another long-term absence. Johnston looked uncomfortable from the start, and the moment he went down, you knew it wasn't going to be a short-term knock. This one will sting, not just for the player, but for the entire backline. And then there's Iheanacho, our only real center-forward option at the moment. Off after just a few minutes. Rodgers confirmed both injuries looked like hamstrings, never a good sign. Add Carter Vickers to that, who visibly limped through the final minutes, and suddenly what should have been a morale-boosting night comes with a growing injury crisis. Celtic had already used all their sub-intervals, so Carter Vickers had to tough it out, hobbling to the finish line. It was heroic, but concerning. The frustrating part is that we've seen this before. Rushing players back, pushing through when the depth isn't there. It's been a pattern this season, and it's costing us physically and mentally. But let's give credit where it's due. For the first time in a while, this team played with purpose. The midfield was a standout, particularly Ari Engels. For some, he's inconsistent. But on this night, he was everywhere, battling, pressing, and even delivering that sublime corner for the second goal. His delivery was sharp, his energy noticeable, and you could feel he wanted it. Callum McGregor, too, seemed more like himself again. Still not peak Callum, but a step forward. He was more commanding, more willing to drive play forward, and that made all the difference. The midfield trio with Hatate was functional, even though Hatate still looks like he's playing below his usual level. There's more to come from him, but at least the unit looked connected. They worked as a group, not as isolated individuals, and that's something we've missed dearly in recent months. At the back, Scales deserves massive praise. Often criticized, sometimes fairly, sometimes not, he delivered one of his best performances in a Celtic shirt. Strong defensively, sure, but it was his distribution that really stood out. Forward passes, attacking angles, and a goal to top it off. That finish wasn't just instinctual, it showed calm, awareness, and the hunger to be in the right spot at the right time. And while that goal came from a set piece, it symbolized something deeper, a Celtic side that finally took initiative. Set pieces, by the way, were a real weapon in this match, and that's not something we've been able to say much this season. Both goals came from corners, yes, but beyond that, there was a threat every time we got a dead ball in the final third. Engels' deliveries were dangerous, varied, and purposeful. It's another area of growth that we desperately need, especially when open play chances continue to be wasted. Because let's be honest, we created plenty, but finishing still remains a problem. Negrin, Kinney, even Hatate, all had golden opportunities that didn't even test the keeper. It's not just about missing, it's about not hitting the target. That's the most frustrating part. So many of these chances are being squandered without even forcing a save. Kinney, in particular, works hard and gets into good spaces, but the lack of a clinical edge continues to haunt him. His movement is there, but you just don't trust him to bury the chance when it comes. Donovan, meanwhile, made a strong case to start against Hearts. He was involved, he was aggressive, and he delivered that beautiful assist for Scales' opener. Sure, he's raw. You can see it in some of his decisions and touches, but his fight and attitude make up for it. He lost the ball at one point and chased back to win it with a sliding tackle. That's the kind of mentality Celtic need right now. Not perfection, not flair, just effort, hunger, and commitment. Donovan brings that, and it's time Brendan gave him a proper run. On the opposite flank, Tierney looked back to something close to his old self. He didn't light the pitch on fire, but he was composed, smart, and linked well with Tanky. That left side looked genuinely dangerous at times. Tierney and Tanky combined well, getting into good areas and providing width that actually meant something. It's arguably the best either of them has looked since Tierney returned and since Tanky's initial burst of form. If they can keep building on that partnership, it gives us a strong platform down that side. Now, the question is whether this was just a one-off or the beginning of something real. Celtic responded well after going down 1-0, which hasn't always been the case this season. The Sturm Graz goal was top class, no denying that. But instead of collapsing, Celtic kept pushing. The energy stayed high. The structure remained. The belief didn't fade. That alone is progress, even if the end product still needs work. We've seen this team fold under pressure too often lately, so seeing them respond was genuinely encouraging. As for Sturm Graz, honestly, they disappointed. They're no mugs. They beat Rangers last time out and are the top side in Austria. But they were passive, left too many spaces, and let Celtic dictate. Even down a goal, they didn't really adjust. It felt like they never changed gears, and their setup allowed us to settle and grow into the match. It's rare for a top European side to be so passive at Celtic Park, but perhaps that's a testament to how Celtic imposed themselves from the start. The red card late on didn't just make things easier. It also gave us a chance to manage the game from a position of control, something we've rarely done this season. It was a clear red, studs up, above the ankle, and in European football, there's no escaping that punishment. With the man advantage, Celtic didn't go for the jugular, but they didn't need to. They controlled possession, slowed the tempo when needed, and saw the game out smartly. That kind of maturity has been lacking and is a welcome sight. Referee decisions aside, and there were some strange ones, Celtic did enough to win and win well. The officiating wasn't perfect. There were baffling fouls called, a bizarre disallowed advantage when Hattadi played in Veda, and a few moments that had the crowd groaning. But none of it changed the result, and for once, Celtic weren't relying on decisions to go their way. They took control. They made it count. But the real test comes now. Hearts at Tenekasel. A match that already felt like a huge challenge now looks even tougher with the injury list piling up. No Ian Nacho. No Johnston. Maybe no Maeda. Carter Vickers a doubt. That's 4 guaranteed starters potentially missing in a stadium that's always hostile and always buzzing. Tenekasel will be rocking from the first whistle, and Celtic will have to be ready. Yet, there's something about these moments. When the pressure is on, when the squad is stretched, when nobody gives us a chance, that's when Celtic sometimes finds another gear. Think back to those games at Aberdeen, or when changes were forced and youngsters stepped up. There's precedent for it, but it has to come with intensity, belief, and most of all, quality in front of goal. Because Hearts are not just physical, they're playing good football. Confident, structured, and dangerous. Celtic will get chances, but finishing them will be everything. Donovan should start. Kenny will likely lead the line again. But someone needs to step up. Maybe James Forrest comes in on the right for a bit of experience and composure. Maybe Veda gets more minutes. Brendan has choices, but the margin for error is paper-thin now. As the dust settles on that much-needed European win, all eyes now turn to Tenekasel. And let's not sugarcoat it. It's going to be an absolute war. This isn't just another league match. It's a test of character, resilience, and whether this Celtic side has the guts to stand tall when the odds are stacked against them. It's a game dripping with narrative. Injuries piling up, pressure mounting, a hostile ground, and a Hearts team full of confidence. If there's ever been a moment this season to find out what this Celtic squad is really made of, it's now. Because despite that boost in midweek, reality hits hard. We're walking into Tenekasel potentially without Ian Nacho, Alistair Johnston, Dyson Maeda, and maybe even Carter Vickers. That's not just a few tweaks. That's the spine of the team under threat. And for all the positives that came out of the win over Sturmgrass, there's no pretending this is a full-strength Celtic. It's not. We are patched up, relying on youth, and asking fringe players to step into massive roles. That's not ideal. But sometimes, that's when Celtic produces its most gritty, unexpected performances. And there's no hiding it to Newcastle. From the first whistle, that crowd is going to be right on top of the pitch, roaring their team forward and licking their lips at the chance to put more pressure on Brendan Rodgers. Hearts know this is an opportunity. They've been tipped up by nearly everyone, including their own fans, who genuinely believe they can take us down. And based on recent form, it's hard to blame them. They've been solid, well-organized, and playing with purpose. This isn't a Hearts side hoping for a lucky break. They'll back themselves to win. But that's exactly the type of atmosphere Celtic should thrive in. When you're not the favorite, when nobody expects you to come out with a result, when the mood around the club has been doom and gloom, that's when you show what you're made of. There's pride at stake, not just points. It's not enough to just show up and compete. Celtic need to go to Newcastle with the same fire they showed against Sturmgrass, but with even more focus and clinical edge. You look at the options Brendan has now, and he's got tough decisions. Donovan has to start at right back. There's no debate anymore. He's raw, yes, but his energy and effort make up for it. Against Sturmgrass, he looked like a player who understands what it means to wear the shirt. He wasn't afraid to make things happen, even if every pass wasn't perfect. And right now, with Johnston out, that fight is invaluable. You want lads on the pitch who will bleed for the cause, and Donovan is exactly that. In the center of defense, it's almost certain Scales starts again, and after his showing midweek, he's earned it. But who partners him if Carter Vickers doesn't make it? That's a massive call. Some whispers say Dane Murray could come in. Others suggest a possible reshuffle with someone like Tomoki dropping deeper. Whatever Rodgers decides, it's going to be a huge responsibility for whoever fills that spot. Because Hearts will test us in the air, on the ground, and with the ball over the top. And you better believe they'll be targeting any makeshift center back we put in there. Left back feels a bit more settled. Tierney looked assured midweek, and if he's fit enough, he surely starts again. It's no time for rotation. He's one of the few leaders in the squad right now who looks confident and capable. We'll need his grit and his know-how in that environment. And if he can build on that chemistry with Tinky, we might have a strong outball down that side. That flank was one of our few consistent threats against Sturmgrass, and we'll need that again at Newcastle. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In what could be the transfer gossip of the season, whispers from Glasgow suggest that Celtic's dressing room is far from the harmonious image fans have been sold. According to sources close to the club, Israeli winger LIEL ABADA has allegedly described the locker room atmosphere as toxic and disunited, sending shockwaves through Scottish football circles. The 21-year-old, who has been a key figure on the park for the boys, reportedly made the comments off the record, but insiders claim the words have leaked, stirring panic among supporters and sparking speculation over his future at Parkhead. Abada's blistering pace and eye for goal have made him a fan favorite, yet behind the scenes, the squad appears to be grappling with tensions that could affect performance on the pitch. Rumors suggest disagreements between senior players and coaching staff, combined with a lack of cohesion during training sessions, have created a rift that's difficult to bridge. Some insiders hint that Abada, frustrated with repeated clashes and what he perceives as a lack of leadership, is weighing options abroad, with scouts from England reportedly keeping a close eye. While Celtic's management has yet to respond publicly, sources say discussions are ongoing behind closed doors, as the club aims to stabilize a squad that has underperformed in crucial fixtures this season. Fans have taken to social media, with opinions divided between defending the young Israeli and demanding transparency from the club hierarchy. If these claims hold water, Celtic may be facing a summer of upheaval, with potential departures and internal reshuffles looming. Abada's alleged comments, whether misquoted or exaggerated, have already ignited a debate about team culture at one of Scotland's most storied clubs. As the boys prepare for upcoming clashes, all eyes will be on whether the alleged toxicity can be resolved, or if the rumor marks the start of a fresh exodus from Parkhead. In the meantime, football circles are abuzz, pundits speculating over ABADA's next move and whether the so-called toxic dressing room could finally see the cracks widen into a full-blown storm. Celtic supporters may be bracing themselves for a turbulent end to the season, as whispers from within suggest the club's unity could be at its lowest ebb in years. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.